Today we are making apple cider vinegar. We are cutting apples. We have plenty of these in the orchard. We're going to add sugar and water, and we're going to first we're going to cut the apples, fill up this mason jar, add the sugar water to it, cover with, this is just an old t-shirt that's cut up. I cut them up into strips here, and then I have the ring around it, and we will stir it daily because it will bubble. Let me go ahead and show you the process here. Cider vinegar, much cheaper to make your own than to go out and buy it these days. So what we're going to do is chop the apples, put them into the jar here. You'll notice I am adding the core along with the seeds. No big deal. They will be coming out later. So let me go ahead and fill this up here, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, once you get it filled up like this, we will take about a cup to a cup and a half of water and half a cup of cane sugar. So the key thing is a half a cup of sugar in a half-gallon container. And water, we'll actually be adding more water than this. And I stir it all in. I've seen some people just add the sugar in here and let it dissolve on its own, and you can do that. I like to mix it up myself. Add it in, and then we will add more to fill it up to, not quite all the way up to the rim, but maybe an inch below. We want the apples to be covered. And just kind of push this around, get some of the air bubbles out. And that's it for today, except we need to put a breathable lid on, and I use an old cut up t-shirt and just put, or a ring it's called. And this will keep the fruit flies from getting in. And one other thing we need to do, I did this one just a couple minutes ago, is we label it with apple cider vinegar and the date so we know when it's ready. So we will, later on in the process, we will go ahead and we'll take the fruit out. But in the meantime, we're going to be stirring this every day to let the air bubbles out. So we will check back tomorrow and see what it looks like. On day 2 and every day after, we're going to go ahead and stir this up. Hopefully you can see in here there are little bubbles coming up, and I will actually be aerating and adding more bubbles. Or you'll see more bubbles coming up as I go ahead, and I guess you can call this stirring it. I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of a mix in the center and all along the sides there. And you can see in there it's almost foamy. On the apple cider vinegar, we are about 1 week in, and the ones that I really packed in here tight, they're having a problem because the air or the CO2 can't come up, and it actually gets trapped under the apples and raises the apples up, and it leaks on the top. And it also leaks out. The fruit flies are having a field day with that. The ones that were just loosely packed in or put in and not really packed down, they're doing okay here. So probably don't want to pack them in too much. Okay, we are at about day 35. I could have done this at day 30, but just got busy with things. So I have been, at least every other day, once in a while every day, I've been shaking it. And we're gonna strain the apples out of the apple cider vinegar, and we're gonna use this bucket here. Make sure if you do use a bucket that it is food grade. So what we're gonna do is just lay a colander on top, and I'm gonna use a cheesecloth to go down in the, and remove the lid. And we're just gonna dump it right on in. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a second jar in. My guess is 2 jars should fill me up to about 1 with the apples removed. Okay, I have a clean half-gallon jar here. And just based on the way that I spill things, I'm going to do this in the sink. So it filled me right up to the top, and I still have maybe a cup or so left. As a matter of fact, now that I mention that, I have a clean glass here. I just rinsed it off. I'm going to pour some in. And I have a pH meter here, which I use for hydroponics. And it was cleaned right before we started here. And I'm going to check the pH. We are at 2.8. So we basically want to be under 4.5, and 3.0 to 3.5 is perfect. This is a little bit lower than that, and it should settle out here. So what we will do is we're going to put a lid back on this, and we're going to let it sit for a few more weeks. And we won't have to stir it every day because the apples are out, so we don't have to worry about mold or anything else. And we'll just put it back where we got it from and let it sit for, like I say, a few more weeks, and then we'll go ahead and we'll put it in a sealed container. So the pH meter I was just talking about, I'll put a link to it in the show notes. I just got it off of Amazon. And the scraps here, we are going to feed this to our livestock. So for right now, I'm just going to take and put it in a gallon Ziploc bag because I still have more cider to deal with here. And this will be good probiotic for the animals, in this case chickens. And this will sit in the refrigerator until I'm ready to use it. So it's been 2 months since I took the apples out and had just the liquid here. And some of them did form a SCOBY on top. So I had some that were perfectly clear, some that had a SCOBY. This is what a SCOBY looks like. It's symbiotic. It stands for symbiotic culture of yeast and bacteria. And I can transition this over and make kombucha out of it. Now, it's gonna be off flavor a little bit until I cycle it through a few times, but I can use this to start kombucha with. So I will go ahead and do that. For now, I will take the SCOBYs out. I will go ahead and put a plastic lid on so I don't have to worry about the acidity affecting a metal rim or a lid ring or anything else. I'll go ahead and tighten this up, and it is good to go for long-term storage. So that is it for making apple cider vinegar. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day.